Well, hi, and welcome to Glitch 2600. Who am I? Well, I'm Brian, aka Glitch, your friendly host through all things geekery, and geekery is just those fun electronic toys that you have that you need a little bit of help with, whether it's computers, photography, videography, mobile phones, mobile devices. If you got a question, well, then I'll have the answer. And you're here for a Glitch Byte, part of our Vlogmas 2020. And Vlogmas is just where we go, us content creators go live or create something new for you every day in December. Technically, it ended yesterday, but a group that I'm with, the Let's Get Live, we're just going to continue through all of December, and then I'm picking a day that we'll just keep doing these Glitch Bytes at least once a week, if not twice a week. So you're here because you want to know about how to hook that GoPro up for live streaming. This comes up a lot. I was actually going to do a different tip, but I saw earlier a lot of questions pop up on our friends feed. So it got me thinking, you know what? I used to live stream with my GoPro a lot more. Now it's my secondary and overhead camera. But a lot of people used to like the look I had. So why not break this into two parts? And on part one, we'll talk about the hardware and getting it plugged in and set up and considerations there. And then part two, tomorrow, we'll talk about some of the software settings and some things that I figured out the fun way you might want to turn off so that you don't have some weird anomalies that you don't quite know what's going on. So start with part one. You need the GoPro. I'm using a GoPro Hero 9 or Hero 8 black. I do like the 9. I'm debating on going there because it does have, right now you'll notice there's a little display right there. And that display just kind of only tells you that what mode it's in for the most part and what you have for free space, where the 9 will show you a picture. You can see your LCD, which is pretty useful. And on the back here, you'll see that too. Now this trick will work with almost all GoPros as long as it can take a micro HDMI. And micro HDMI is just that really, really small connector. If I pop out of the way, there you go. It's a very small HDMI connector. The other side is a regular HDMI connector. It's just regular HDMI. So you can kind of see that there. If I move out of the way, that's what I have with face, priority focusing. But you can kind of see how those change. One's a little bit smaller than the other. So that's one of the cables you'll need is a micro to regular USB. And then if it's the 7 and below, you'll notice it has a port for that on the back. But if you have an 8 or above, you need a media mod, is what they call this. And this just allows you to snap this into the GoPro. And you'll notice there's these little ports on the back. There you go. And the bottom one's for power, or the very bottom is for sound, a microphone. The next one up is USB-C. The next one up is HDMI. That's that micro. So when you get it, obviously, you can have a card in it or not. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and leave the battery in. But most of the time, you're going to yank that battery out. And you're going to take off this side piece to put it into the media mod. If you're on a 7 or below, like I said, you don't have to do the media mod part. But it still makes sense to pull the battery. The reason why is they get really hot and really warm, and you don't want it to turn off while it's doing a live stream, because basically it's pulling from the battery and trying to charge the battery at the same time, which causes that to heat up, and then you can get an overheat, which shuts down the camera. So instead, most of the time, you're going to go ahead and pull that out. I'm going to be doing this for such a short amount of time so that way we don't keep getting little menu things pop up. I'm going to go ahead and put the battery in. So if I pop that in there, it's pretty easy. We just slide that in and just push it down and it'll lock in. The nice thing is it has the feet on the bottom, so you can flip those out to put it on some type of card or reader system or any type of mount, normal GoPro mounts. Of course, I put all my stuff right out of my arm's length. But that brings on the next part you need. Obviously, you'll need power. So this thing takes USB-C. So I use the GoPro USB-C, but anything that goes to and has a USB-C termination on the end makes sense. So I have a long, not super long, not nearly long enough. I have a long USB-C cable which is just a standard. You kind of see them with the Windows ones nowadays. It kind of looks like the micro HDMI, which of course, come on. Come on, there you go. All right, you get the idea. USB-C, you can Google that and bring it in and plug that into the back of the camera. The next thing you're gonna need is something like a cam link. So if I put that on there, come on, focus. Is that face-centered focus? There we go. Cam link, which is USB on one end, HDMI on the other. That's why we need to have that HDMI cable. You can also get by with 810 mini, any capture card. This is just the capture card I choose to use for this one. And then because I'm on a MacBook Pro 16 that only takes USB-C, and these don't come in USB-C format, I have a little adapter to take USB to USB-C. So I pop those together and then pop my HDMI cord on the end like so. And then the other end can go into the GoPro. I always tell people first things first, plug the power into the GoPro because it'll pop up. And a lot of times if it hasn't been powered on for a bit, it'll pop up and ask for the date and time like it's saying right now. And you can update from the app. You can update manually. I'm going to tell it to go ahead and set manually because I just set it. So it's not going to be that far off. 8:04. So once I grab that, which if I had this on you'd see, but it'll just get in the way. Now it'll just display on the back. And that's great. We'll talk about the software and certain settings for that after. But if we pop over here, so we can show you a little bit of a side-by-side. Let me plug this into the side of my computer so it's ready to go. And then we're going to take this GoPro and plug it in. As soon as we do, you'll see it start to populate over here. And it'll go through its little things first. But normally it would show your media that you have, and that's obviously not where we want to be. But the big problem is the back of the display is blank. So it's really hard to control it that way. What you have to do is you use the side button on this side and the top button to select. So this chooses across. So if I push the side one once, twice, you get that menu on top, and then I hit the top, the shutter button to select it, and now we'll get a great shot at my nose. We'll hit the side button again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hit that top shutter button again, and it makes all the menu disappear. That gives you clean HDMI, you know, so you can see stuff out and about. So with that, this is how we get by with bringing it into the camera. So now you can see I'm just moving things around. You can see my controls there. You can see all the fun stuff, my Pilsner stuff, and all that. So you can see everything. You can see my light. Enjoy, you know, the brightness there. The key trick is once you plug it in, you'll remember it's 2 clicks on the side, once on the shutter to go into camera mode, and then 4 clicks, and then the shutter to go into clean. We'll talk tomorrow about doing your software settings ahead of time because as you can tell, there's still nothing on the back of this thing. So since there's nothing on the back of this, it's still hard to change those settings afterwards. But once we have it in here, we can bring it in. It just shows up as a camera. So if I pop this up, we'll let it look at the look at me really crappy, or we'll go like that. You guys get to see up my nose. Enjoy the view of up my nose. I should have maybe done some type of cleanup today. Sorry, but or we'll let it see the ceiling. Why not? You guys get to see the microphone now. Look at the fuzzy microphone. So that's how you can bring that in and get that set up and some of the settings you might want to do. Now I'm going to switch over to my live demo mode because I want to show you when I brought it in here. One of the things I did in Ecamm is I went ahead and made this a camera overlay. So when it came in, you'll see the cam link right here. That's what this one is. And I brought it over. And then this is my other cam link. So you see I'm not doing any trickery. with my Blackmagic. So this one's coming in from my ATEM with the Sony a6100, and this is my GoPro. And so I can do effects on here. I can add green screen onto that cam link. So if I had green screen on, I could do that, but I could pan and zoom it still and do all of that fun stuff over here. I could also change the color settings if I wanted to maybe brighten it up or do something crazy with it. And then double click to bring it back and then turn that off. Now, the other thing I could have done is I could have gone to GoPro's website, and if I bring this up and go here, we're going to pop back over here so you can see it. If you go to that website, you could also download the GoPro webcam software. That webcam software will still bring it in as a camera inside of eCam, much like you see down below here. It's Cam Link. You'll see it as GoPro. It'll work via USB. So as long as you have the GoPro Hero 4 all the way up to the 9, you can bring it in via USB. Why do I not do that? Well, I don't do that for a couple reasons. So if I were to flip back over here, turn that off because we don't need that popped up. And if I were to switch back my view just so you can see it and come back here to this cam link, you'll notice this is at 1080, 60 frames per second. If I had this in 4K mode, that would be in 4K. The USB will not be at that high of a format. I don't suggest streaming in 4K, but if you're going to record in eCam, that could be a problem. You know, if you want to be able to record in 4K, the USB one will not give you quite the same quality. Good capture cards will add just a little bit of sharpness and a little bit of nicety to make that picture a little bit better. So when you're doing that, that's part of the reason why is if you're up here by where it says resolution under camera effects, that's where you can get away with that. Now, as a quick fix in something where you need it and you just need USB, yeah. Otherwise, you'll get way better with the HDMI. You can bring your audio in on that, so you can plug audio into the back of that media bridge or the media mod. If you have the 7, you can use the adapter for it. If you're in, but that, let me preface that you can do that with the 7 if you're not using it in USB mode, because in USB, the 7 only has one USB port. So I don't know if that'll work through the Pro microphone adapter or not. I have one, so I should probably test. Since I moved to the media mod, I don't really use it because I don't need it now. In fact, I should get rid of it because I have the 8. Like I said, with the 9, the nice thing is you can see your display on the front, and I don't know if you plug that in, if that turns off. Hopefully not, because then you would have a front-end preview, and that would work a little bit better. And that's one reason why I've been thinking about switching to the 9 for my backup inside camera. But that's just a quick how to bring it in. So what's the key stuff? Let's go over it one more time. 1, if you're on an 8 or 9, get the media mod. Not only does it has the nice microphone on the front, so you can do that. It has a back, has some extra microphone features. It has a hot shoe or a cold shoe on the bottom and side, so you can add a light and all sorts of microphone mounts. It has your microphone port built in, which if you buy the adapter from GoPro, the mini Pro adapter would cost an extra, $50 anyway. Why not get the media mod for cheaper? If you're on their Pro subscription, you get the media mods for like $70, 60, 70. So for a little bit more, you get the USB port and the HDMI port. You bring that in, so 8 and 9 or whichever. You need a micro HDMI to regular HDMI. You need to pull the battery because you don't want the thing overheating, which means you got to bring power to it. So make sure you have your USB power to your mobile device unless you're doing, or to your GoPro unless you're doing a very short one, in which case you could run off battery. It'll just drain a little faster. Then you need something like a cam link or any type of HDMI capture card. That's what brings it in. Just because you have an HDMI port on your laptop doesn't mean that's HDMI out. That's not HDMI coming in. So you do that, you bring it in, it's going to come up to your media page. So you're going to have to click on the side twice because that's what moves you through the menus. Once on the shutter to switch into camera mode, and then you're going to do the side 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 1 time on the top to put it into clean HDMI, and then you're good to go. Otherwise, there's some software settings, maybe some different streaming settings you might want to do. Talk about that white balance and maybe audio on there, along with something about the voice control that we're going to talk about tomorrow. We're going to talk about all the software considerations for that next step tomorrow in part 2. But hopefully you found this, intriguing and helpful. If so, then the best way to show me is to come subscribe to us on YouTube. Use that link below, or if you're on your computer, hover over this little code with your smartphone in camera mode, and it'll go, hey, do you want to open up that link? And you'll go, yes. And then once you go there, click subscribe, and then when you want to be notified that we're going online, then ring the bell. That's what that bell is for on there. Otherwise, you can also come join us on Facebook. We'd love to have you there. I mean, really any place we want to come and see what we're doing. We'll have a Geek Out coming soon. That's where you can ask your questions and get them answered live on the air. Otherwise, you can ask the questions anytime. We'd love to do what we can to make technology and your geek toys a little bit more friendly and fun for you. So if you had a great time, subscribe, and we'll, of course, see you tomorrow. So thanks again, and see you.